Okay, so today we are doing exponential regressions, and that means they're giving you a table, you need to give me the equation. Now, they already told you that it's exponential, and even if they didn't tell you, once you start typing these numbers, you can look at the graph and tell that it's not linear and it's not quadratic. So once you figure out that it's exponential, you need to use the formula y1 approximately ab to the power of x1. And so that's what we're going to be practicing. I also put that on the wall for you to see. So problem number 1 is talking about a cup of soup is left on the counter to cool. The table below gives the temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit of the soup recorded over a 10-minute period. We want you to write an exponential regression equation for the data, rounding all the values to the nearest 1,000. So we're going to have to be rounding. You should have already typed that table into decimals, and if you haven't already, then you can press pause and do it before I do it. So you're going to add a table, and you're going to type those numbers, 0, enter, 2, enter, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then on the other side, I have 180.2. That was a hot soup. 165.8. 146.3. 135.4. 127.7. And 110.5. Okay? And then remember, we're going to get the equation of that. And if you haven't already looked, I would zoom out so you can see those points. Okay? They're coming down. They're not going to be perfect because this is real life stuff. And then right here, you're going to type the equation y1, not equal, approximately. So go to the alphabet and use the approximation key. AB to the power of, so you have to hit this little button right here with the A to the power of B. And then you hit X1. Okay, so it gives you the equation. And we're just going to round to the nearest thousandth. So let me get my pen. So this is the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So this one's already ready. We're just going to use that for your A. And then this one is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we're going to round to that number. And the neighbor is a 9. So what happens to the 3? It goes up to 4. Okay? So let's write those equations. Our equation would be y equals 180.325 parentheses. I don't need a negative, so hold on real quick. Let's go right here, erase the B, and retype it. No. Log mode. No. Hold on. Okay, let's erase and retype A, parentheses, B, close parentheses, to the power of X1. Let's see if it gave me, nope, it still gives me a negative. Y1, approximately A to the power of B, close parentheses, X1. There. So you just have to keep retyping it or erase the B, put it back on there. The number just has to end up a positive. And if you don't want to keep erasing it, just make sure that when you write it, it's a positive number, not a negative number. Okay, because if not, you're going to get it wrong. So so it's 0.954 to the power of x. Okay, so write that down for problem number 1. $183.25. $180.325 parentheses 0.9. Is it 54? To the power of x. Okay. Problem number 2. I'm not going to do problem number 2 with you, but I just want to make sure that you understand. It's telling you that you're going to use 1 to represent 1986. So instead of starting with 0, 1986 is your 1. So you're going to type 1 for this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because they're in order. 1986, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. So just put them in order from 1 to 9, type them in decimals, and let's figure out the equation. Go ahead and press pause and do this before I start problem number 3. Okay, so you should have already typed this in. And I wouldn't erase the formula. Don't mess with it. Don't erase it. Just retype this table. So that's 1, and then go down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then over here, you're typing, that's 14, 27, 48, 80, 110, 153, 261, 403, and 681. Okay, so here's our new numbers. The B has to be positive. That's why I told you don't mess with the equation. Just leave it alone. And we're going to write this down. So it's we have y equals, and that's already to the 10th place, so it's 10.596 parentheses. The thousandths place would be to the 3rd decimal place, so that's 1.586 to the power of x. Okay? Okay, so that's what we're going to type here. Y equals 10.596 parentheses 1.586 to the power of x. Now let's go back and look at our graph. Okay, it's going through my green points and it's increasing, right? That's a growth. Let me see if I can. That's a growth. Okay, and how do I know that it's going to be a growth? Because the number inside is greater than 1, greater than the dollar. If it's more than 1, it's going to be a growth. This one was smaller than 1. So this is a decay. The numbers should be decreasing, and they are decreasing in the table. Remember, the soup is getting colder, and then over here, the stores are increasing, that's why it has to be a growth. Everything has to make sense. Let's look at problem number 3. Because problem number 3 is not only asking us for the equation, it's also asking us to go find a number. It's asking us to go find 18th hour, right? Right now we're at 16, so we need to go find the 18th hour. So first we're going to find the equation, and then we're going to use the equation to figure out how much it would be at 18. So I need you to pause the video. I need you to type these numbers into the table in decimals. I need you to figure out the equation and see if you can figure out the 18th hour. If you did not pause the video, I need you to pause it because I'm about to give you the answer. You should have done this without my help first. I already typed the numbers into this table. I already have the equation, so we're going to go ahead and write it down. We're going to write down the equation. It's y equals 27.203. Because that 2 turns into a 3, the neighbor is 5 or more. Parentheses, 1.151. Because that's the thousandths place, and that's greater than 5, so that moves up to 1 to the power of x. Okay, so write down that formula. So right here, we're going to write the formula is y equals 27.203, parentheses 1.151 to the power of x. Okay, so how am I going to figure out what happens at 18 hours? How are we going to figure it out? What is hours? What letter are we using for hours? X, right? So this X needs to be 18. So you can either type it in the TI calculator, in the decimals calculator, I don't care in which calculator, but you're going to type 27.203, parentheses 1.151, close parentheses to the power of 18, and see what that gives you, because that's going to be the answer at 18 hours. Make sure that you round to the thousandths place, and just keep going, do the same thing for all of these problems. Now I want you to remember something, okay? This formula is not in the formula chart, so if they give you a problem like this on the star, you guys have to memorize this formula, which is, let me go back up here. Y1 approximately A, B, X1. And we can put parentheses around that. So make sure that you memorize that.